Let me move a little bit. We're going to open this morning with a song called I Am by one of my favorites. I sing a lot of her stuff here. Denise Rozier. First of all, we sing in the same key. So it's very nice. I don't have to get anything transposed, but I just love the affirmation of this song. So kind of what feels like the chorus is very simple. I am. So please feel free to join in if you feel called. I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night, a perfect thought since time began. I am one with a love that's holding all of us. Its power in my hands. I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy, forever blessed where I stand. I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night, a perfect thought since time began. I am one with a love that's holding all of us. Its power in my hand, and I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy, forever blessed where I stand. I just get to stay right here because I'm pulling double duty.
Yeah.
And I have to set my phone because I could just go and go and go. I won't set it till I have some water. A couple of weekends ago, we had a beautiful leadership retreat. And I was so blessed to be invited to be a part of that. And what stood out for me in that experience was that we came together after a morning of practice to identify the things that we had experienced through our lifetime of being involved in spiritual community, whatever that might be, and find what were the things. What was it like? I love that. You know, and people were kind of freaked out because I said, Holy Communion. Like, what? I love the ritual of Holy Communion. It was so special to me. That's not the one I'm talking about, don't worry. What rose up to the top as the God quality that I understood, that I walked away with kind of feeling like it was the numero uno, even though we didn't say numero uno, number one, was love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love. And when we talked about love, when we got to that, it was these different ways of describing love, the different ways that we identified it. So for me, it was belonging. For someone else, it was connection, community. But we synthesized that, all those things into love.
Yeah. For
me, the strongest of those is belonging. That was my contribution, just to be transparent. Belonging is a really important aspect of life for me. And it's because I've struggled with it. A dear friend of mine in Seattle, Washington, Kim Boyd, used to say, your mess is your message. Just to be transparent. Oh, darn, I didn't start this. I'll be transparent again. So, belonging is a central part of what I find to be really important in life. And for the record, Carol Rose, I got Sacred Vows as the talk title, and I was like, what? So I took some liberties, Reverend Ann, and I added a subtitle, Sacred Vow, a holy yes to life.
Oh.
I don't know if that helps at all. It helped me. It helped me as I was trying to figure it out. So I want to connect this idea of belonging, of connection and community to this idea of a sacred vow. And when I started to think of belonging, there is a particular picture that my lovely wife Belinda came to our relationship with. That was one of her and a dear friend of hers, Fawn, walking down the street. I don't know if you were already in Ireland or if you were in Ireland. And Fawn has her arm around Belinda's shoulder, and at the top of that picture it says, got your back. Got your back. That picture struck me. That, to me, is like the heart of belonging to one another. I've got your back. I don't just come to the same place. We don't just share, a coffee. We don't just take in whatever, a movie, a play. We don't just go to a dance together. This is about having each other's backs. When I talk about belonging, when I talk about connection and community. So that's kind of the container that I'm holding this talk in. So just gotta keep that in mind. So, sacred vow. What's a sacred vow? So, kind of breaking it down into other words that might make more sense, might or might not. Holy promise. A divine commitment. So I was playing with these words, trying to find the heart of it for myself. And we can make all kinds of promises in life, right? Like, I promise to be home on time for dinner. I promise that I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to go to the gym. Thanks so much for the invitation. That sounds like so much fun. I'll absolutely be there. Right? That's a form of a promise. I promise to, and then fill in the blank. And when we think of it that way, it's just not, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll be home in time for dinner. I may not. I might, I might show up for that party that you invited me to later, or I might not. right? So that's a promise. And it is a kind of a commitment that we've made. But a sacred vow really feels like it ties us more to something out in the future. Like it's not just like a little tie your shoe tie. It's a knot. Like you don't want this to come out. And sometimes it's a short time frame. We're tied to something like, you know, I will absolutely be there. You got a flat tire, no problem. I'm going to show up, and you show up, right? Or it can be a really long-term vow, way out. For example, Kevin, take you, Belinda, to be my really good friend, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and cherish, until we are parted by death. This is my solemn vow.
Wow.
Okay? So it can sometimes feel a little bit challenging when we're talking about vows. I mean, we talk about not taking it lightly if you get married, if you make that commitment to a person. But when we go beyond that, like that one-to-one marriage vow, or, you know, a priest takes his holy vow, commitment to, I had the word, I lost it, or a vow of silence. These are really like solemn vows. And what can, I think, get challenging for us, and I'm going to actually, what can get challenging for me, and hopefully someone will relate to my challenges, is that an idea of having a sacred vow can start to feel a little constricting and a little scary. And it makes sense. If you look at the word commitment, some of the definitions, obligation that restricts freedom of action. Oh, I want to do that. Yeah. The state or instance of being obligated or emotionally impelled. Sounds like impaled. And then if you go deeper, impelled is to urge or drive forward as if by exertion of strong moral pressure. So it might make sense to me if I'm looking at commitment in the ways that we talk about it in our society, the definition of the word itself, if I'm thinking of this being a divine commitment, a sacred vow, where am I going to put that? That's something serious, we might think. And right now I work for a nonprofit called Circles USA, and it is a volunteer-driven nonprofit to eliminate poverty in the United States. It's a beautiful nonprofit. And one of the things that we are experiencing, and nonprofits across the nation are experiencing, is a big challenge getting volunteers.
Yeah.
A really big, like we used to have them coming out of our ears. And now it's like, oh, I can't get, nobody wants to commit. Nobody wants to commit. And so there's a feeling as I'm working in this environment that there's like this commitment phobic energy that's rising up. And I'll just share, because I have that. I'm healing, I'm recovering. When I was a kid, I'll share where this came from for me. When I was a kid, my mom, and thank God for my mom, I've talked to her, I said, Mom, does it bother you that I use you as an example all the time? Because it's like most of the time not the nice pretty stuff. It's like, oh, Mom, huh. And she says, you know, Mahita, if you can learn from it and other people can learn from it, that's all I care about. Isn't that beautiful? So she lets me throw under the bus all the time. Okay, so my mama, when I was a kid, had this response to needing to go out to do things. And it was that she said yes, she was invited, she was asked, and she said yes. And then when it came time to do it, oh, God, it's so hard. I can't believe I have to go do this. This is terrible. It was absolutely, the feeling was obligation. And she was miserable every single time. Every single time. And I could not understand as a kid, only seeing that part of it, why in the world would she do that to herself? Yeah. Why would you commit to something if when committed to something means that happens? Because that was just terrible. That was terrible. But what I didn't see and I didn't understand is where the commitment was coming from, where she was making the commitment from.
Yeah.
She was making it from being concerned about how she would be perceived,
Yeah.
right? By people in church, by people in the community, by my aunts and uncles. What would others think of her? Is that I'm Catholic, I need to be giving and, being charitable. But it was coming from a should.
Yeah, exactly.
I should do this.
Yep.
This is what other people want of me. So she wasn't making a commitment from her heart's joy and from an experience of connection and desire and love and fun and laughter, right? And possibility. She was making a commitment out of obligation, in the bad way, out of shoulds.
Yeah.
So I'm a TikTok addict. You guys know that. It's my guilty pleasure. It's what it is. Whatever. So they have a For You page so that when you start liking things or listening to things, all of a sudden things like that start showing up. So what started showing up was these introverts making a joke about, how you're out there and you're having a good time and you say, yeah, I'll totally show up. That sounds like a great time. And then you get to the time right before and you're like, oh my God. Why did I say yes? What I don't want to do is put on my jammies and watch Netflix, right? It's like that introvert's, yes, for the moment that sounds great, and then damn it. But here's the thing, y'all. Let's be really clear. We're a choice.
Yeah.
We are at choice. Obligation. Let's talk about obligation. What's the difference between commitments and obligation? Because obligation sounds like the place where we get hung up on. A commitment is something you agree to do or choose to engage in. An obligation arises out of you choosing to commit to something. And an obligation is something that you are obliged to do, you feel you have to do out of a sense of duty because you said you would. Let me read that again.
Yeah.
A commitment is something you agree to do,
Right.
or you choose to engage in. You. And an obligation arises out of you choosing to commit to something. An obligation is something that you are obliged to do, you feel you have to do out of a sense of duty because you said you would do it.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
You said you would do it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. Now, if you're listening to the shoulds, you're still choosing to do it out of listening to the shoulds. Out of worrying what people will think of you. If that sounds weird to you and like, yeah, of course I would do it, please hang out here some more. Because we talk about that a lot. So if you're like me in many circumstances, I'll be in a situation and I agree and I choose to do something because in that moment there is a desire. In that moment, I am an introvert, but in that moment, let's say if I'm with someone and I'm spending time with them and I'm feeling a connection. I'm feeling joy and love and possibility and I want it in that moment because I am connected, because I am feeling the love. I separate myself from that and I forget. And so what I want to invite us to do is when we are making commitments, when we are saying yes to something, when we are making a vow, a sacred vow, that when we are making it, that we're paying attention to why. Why am I saying yes in this moment? Not just like, yeah, that sounds like total fun, I'll be there. Because when I get by myself, again, I'm talking about me. When I get by myself and I'm like looking at the jammies and the bed and the tea, and then me by myself or with my wife and snuggling, like I'm just like, oh my God. But if I can remember, oh yeah, I felt love in that moment. I felt connection and the possibility of more of that in the experience. And it begins to take away the barriers. It can get me closer to why I gave my sacred yes. Why I gave my vow to be there. That sounds like a lot when you talk about sacred vows and showing up to, dinner after something. But Let's put it in some words that we might relate to a little bit better, that might not be as triggering, okay? So Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, the author of Science of Mind, the big fat textbook that we use here, he says, and I apologize, I don't know where this is coming from, I couldn't find the source, but he says, just what is meant by your word. It means your conscious intention, your conscious direction, your conscious faith and acceptance that because of what you are doing, the power of spirit will flow through your word in the direction you give it.
That's right.
Your word.
Yep.
It's not just your word. Yeah, totally. Your word is powerful. It has intention. It is conscious intention, conscious direction, conscious faith and acceptance that because of what you are doing, yes, I will be there. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I commit to show up every single time. The power of spirit will flow through my word in the direction that I give it.
Yep.
Holy moly, I am now in control. I am not a victim. I am not somebody who's putting it upon me. I am not obliged. I'm not having, you're not telling me what to do. I told me what to do. And I did it because I wanted something bigger. Because I turned my conscious attention to that God quality that I wanted to experience. So how about we get conscious?
Yeah.
How about if we turn that on every time that we're in the moment of making a commitment, of saying yes to something? Or even if we're going to say no.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have gotten really good at saying no. Which, boundaries are fantastic. But sometimes we go way over, right? It's like, oh, yes to everything, and now I'm exhausted. And I can't even get up to go to work in the morning. I can't, whatever. And then, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm 100% free all the time. I don't know for you, but for me, that's actually not a good thing for you. I think it's like I'm going to do all this stuff, and I don't. I just really snuggle and watch Netflix. What if we were intentional with our holy promises? With our divine commitments, the way that Ernest Holmes described. Right? So if I'm in that situation where I'm with friends, and I'm having just a beautiful time that's rare for me because I am an introvert. I don't connect like that all the time. That's why this is a good example. And I feel that pull in my heart to have more. And then I hit the, damn it. I can remember. Like the, damn it becomes a little bell. It becomes my notification of like, hey, girl, there was a something more. There was a something more. Remember. And I can if I was conscious when I made that commitment. So, my invitation is that we begin to be more conscious with the things that are our heart's desire, whatever that is. When we make our promises from a conscious, joyful, and loving place, right, filled with possibility rather than what we think others think we should be doing, we are making a sacred vow.
Yeah.
And when we make a sacred vow, that changes the flavor. But it's not that some things deserve a sacred vow and some things don't. This is our word.
Yeah.
And we know here that our word is powerful. Our word is creative. Our word creates the life that we experience. Our word isn't just some funny thing that we decide to say and I say them weirdly and I have a way and whatever. But our word is powerful.
Yes.
So how does this relate back to our leadership retreat? And love and belonging and community and connection. So I'm going to center it in on the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living, but I'm talking about this everywhere. Everywhere that you interact with other human beings, and maybe not human beings, but you interact. What are your heart's desires in relationship? What does your heart desiring, calling you out of your relationships, whether it's to the center, whether it's to the individual people that participate in the center. I'm going to go to a side real quickly because I got an email from Patty Berry. Love you, Patty Berry, this morning that says, I'm so excited that you're going to be there. I'm not going to be there in person, but I'm going to be there on Zoom. You know what that meant to me? You know what that meant to me? That a person here took the time to reach out to me and say, you matter. What are the relationships that we want to have in community, this one or anywhere else? What's your heart desire? And might there be just a tinge in those relationships, a desire to have more love and more belonging and more connection? That we might say we want our freedom, and if that's really what you want, that's cool. But for some of us who say we want our freedom, in reality, I want more love. And they're not separate things.
Right.
I don't not have freedom because I commit to love. I don't not have freedom because I decide to show up for my friend. That is not a lack of freedom. That is the power of my word.
That's right.
That is freedom. That I have the power to use my word.
Yep.
So might you put your powerful word behind your desires? Behind your intentions, so that you have more of that, whatever that is. Do you have intentions for your engagement with the community? Whatever community, but I am talking about every day, but you can pick your own. And are you living that out? We have a sleepy dog in the corner that's snoring. Are you living that out? Are you living that out really? And might this be a place and a time to make a sacred vow? To make a holy promise? To make a divine commitment? Maybe to show up? To reach out? It makes a difference. To share authentically from your heart with other people that are with you, and to give of your beautiful self, to share it. Not from a should.
Right.
Not from a should. Not from an obligation. Not from I'm worried about what people will think of me. But from a place of recognizing that when you commit yourself to something, when you give yourself to something, you are calling to you that which you desire as your intention is forming, and you speak your word.
Yeah.
If you live your life from this place of knowing your power, knowing the power of your word, and go out into your day, go out into your week, and recognize that anytime you have an opportunity to make a promise and to make a commitment, ask yourself, am I making a sacred vow? Am I giving a holy yes to life? We used to sing a song here way back in the day, Lean on Me, which is a beautiful song of connection and supporting one another. Sometime in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be too long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Might this be the place? Might this be the time, wherever you are, to make a sacred vow and to use your holy word? Namaste. puppet show. This song is by Jennifer Stanfield and Tim Bays, and it speaks to precisely what we were just talking about. It's a lean on me type song, and thank goodness for Joseph and this piano, because we started to sing it and it was because the other day it sounded fine, and today it didn't. So Joseph was like, I can push a button. And I said, please do push that button. I would appreciate the button. So this is called Whatever It Takes. Feel free to sing along if you can catch the chorus. Whatever it takes, I'll do whatever it takes for you. Help you be strong, to help you hold on. I'll do whatever it takes. No matter how much you need, it isn't too much for me. When it comes to you, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. You start feeling like you don't have a friend, like there's nothing or no one on who you can depend. And when you feel that you keep bending till you break, make no mistake. Whatever it takes, I'll do whatever it takes for you, to help you grow strong, to help you hold on. I'll do whatever it takes. No matter how much you need, it isn't too much for me. Wherever you go, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Sometimes you need a friend to hear the way you feel, someone to remind you of what's crazy and what's real. Forever I believe in you, so there's no need to hide. I'm on your side. Whatever it takes, I'll do whatever it takes for you, to help you grow strong, to help you hold on. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes for you, to help you grow strong, to help you hold on. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes for you, to help you grow strong, to help you hang on. I'll do whatever it takes for you, whatever it takes for you, to help you grow strong, to help you hold on. I'll do whatever it takes, whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes.
Are we blessed or what?
Yeah, double duty today. Good job.
Yes. Okay, it is now time for our conscious giving, where we give and take and all that. If you'll all say with me the blessing prayer, thank you. I know it, but it's nice to see it anyway. The love of Spirit
Spirit,
blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive abundantly. And so it is.